Pretty bleak outlook, unless governments get tough, very tough, to the point of being lethal. Poachers are going to get in there and they're going to sweep this magnificent species from the face of the planet. It's our hunters' dollars that ensure the survival of this species. People are prepared to pay a lot of money to collect this member of the Big Five. That money gives the species a value. The value gives people the incentive to have these animals on their property. The white rhino, far more numerous than the black at this time and huntable in a couple of countries, still offers a sportsman a chance at this great pachyderm and for those who are wanting to collect the Big Five. There's not many areas in Africa today when one can legitimately hunt a rhino, but you know, South Africa is the place where it's most common. Hunters have put great value on the rhinos, which means that there's a lot of ranchers that want to have rhino, and so as a result of that, there's several permits available. On this particular hunt, I was going to be with my great friend Jim Hall. We've hunted a lot of Africa together. Just a great combination of both hunter and outfitter, and it was bound to be a great safari. That first day out there, we found several rhinos, and actually we did find one of the old bulls, but I was anxious to make sure that we saw all of them, to make sure that we got the best that we could out of the area. Well, step one was to look for some nice bull tracks, and so we looked around some of the water points, and actually we did find several tracks, and knowing that these rhinos are pretty territorial, we knew that we were in the right area.
Wow, how come this is all in one place like this?
This is actually a territory marking, Jim. And the big bull rhino will have several of these through their territories, which they'll visit every day or every couple of days. And this is a scrape from the morning, and you can see what he would have done is gone like this while he's defecating. And have a look at this. It really does just look like grass clippings, and you know, you can see that he's very obviously a grazer, just all these grass clippings. And this is this morning's dropping right here. So he's definitely in the area, or at least a bull is definitely in the area. Where is it, Lon? Okay, he's gone up in here. We should take this bull. He's on his own. He's old, and he looks like he's got a phenomenal horn. I haven't seen it perfectly. We'll get another look, but I think we should take this bull. Just get ready, Lolly. Give him your rifle. Okay, Lolly, stay at the back. Okay, sit down. Okay, come, Jim. Present a nice side shot. Just wait, okay? You're going to shoot just below the eye. As luck would have it, the weather was pretty bad that day and the wind was very unsteady, so we had to make our way round, and then a couple of times actually what happened was the wind would change and we'd have to move back round again, but finally we got to within about 40 yards of the rhino, and I could see that this was absolutely a rhino of Jim's dreams. Okay, Jim, come on in here. Just get up on the sticks. Okay, there's no shot. Don't worry, though. He's going to walk out. There he is right there. Yeah. He's only about 25 yards. Okay, here he comes out. Okay, he's facing us. I don't want you to take a frontal shot. No frontal shot. Just get ready. Just remember 4 or 5 inches below where his ear joins. Okay, in your own time, Jim. There we go. When he turns sideways and you can see him good. Just below the ear for Jim. Jim Hall. Okay, come. Come, Jim, come. Come on, Jim. Come on, Jim. down, Jim. Right between the front legs. Right between the front legs. Between. Congratulations, my friend. What a phenomenal rhino. Look at this thing. That is just wonderful.
Pick up that extra one, no doubt.
Well, Jim, after a couple of days of driving and looking and tracking and passing up a few bulls, some of which we were a little bit worried whether we should have passed them up or not, just what a fine trophy.
Yeah, it's really an honor and pleasure, I guess you'd have to say, to take an animal like this due to the hard work and conservation efforts of these people in this park, and being able to, in a small way, give back to the program that made this possible.
Absolutely, Jim. And you know, all of these dollars that you've spent on this rhino here in the Eastern Cape Parks Board is going to go back into the conservation of this rhino, back into the future of these rhino in a game reserve like this. And man, not only have you got a great animal that's hard to take, what a phenomenal trophy. I mean, just taking a trophy like this, just a giant white rhino, I mean, that'll be a pleasure in anybody's collection. So phenomenal shot, Jim, and well done on completing your big five.
Thank you very much.
In Africa today, of the dangerous game, the rhino is obviously the rarest, as we've just been talking about. And so there's an opportunity that has arisen in the last few years, an opportunity that's been generated by the need to manage these animals. You know, what they've done is they've taken these darting experiences and they've sold them to trophy hunters who can now come in, they can dart a rhino, they can take photos of them, they can measure them, and, you know, really have every bit of the experience of getting up to these beautiful animals, and then be an important part of the whole wheel of conservation that goes on in Africa today. South Africa is the place where a lot of these kind of hunts are conducted, and so let's join Guy Gorney as he hunts with Tam safaris on a darted rhino. For a lot of people who don't know what this is all about, you know, the hunt is not about selecting the individual because he's already pre-selected, but getting up close to these guys, getting to within 20 yards, and getting to use this very interesting piece of equipment is a great challenge.
Okay, Guy, well, basically what we're going to try and do this morning is obviously to get in as close as we can to the rhino, you know, and it's always fun. It's a lot more challenging than most people think, and you'll see as we go along, but there's a fairly good chance that we'll be forced onto our hands and knees, you know, to crawl in. We're going to try and get to within about 30 yards, you know. Obviously the closer we get the better, and obviously the more exciting. So this dart gun, we'll have a few practice shots with it, but it's easy, the dart will be easily deflected by any sort of brush or grass, so make sure you have a clear path between you and the rhino. Okay, let's go give it a crack.
Guy spent a little bit of time with the guys from Tam, really learning how to shoot the dart gun, learning exactly where that dart was going to go, and getting a little bit more of an understanding of what is safari and what this experience was going to entail. It wasn't a challenge finding the rhino, that's the easy part. Getting to within 20 yards is a challenge, and anybody that has hunted rhino or been around these big animals realizes that getting to within 20 yards is not just as easy as walking up to them.
It's shifting a little bit, so it might make it quite tricky, Guy, but we just got to play with it and see what we can work out. to pass this. Okay, we get the wind right and then we'll get in there.
In case it comes through the trees.
Yeah. We'll just wait till it clears. Be ready when you get a shot taken, okay?
Once the dart has flown, Peter's counsel and practice, frankly, beforehand was just freeze. Don't follow through like you might with the rifle and that sort of thing. Just freeze, hold steady, don't move. Don't give the rhino a chance to spot the movement and then perhaps cause other problems. And as time went on and the tranquilizer took effect, we had the opportunity to take some pictures, some measurements, and really kind of savor the moment with such a grand beast.
Yeah, Guy, congratulations. Very, very neat experience, yeah. Quite a privilege to be out there with you this morning and to be able to witness all of this. But yeah, we had quite an exciting morning. Nice stalking up on that rhino and getting into a very good position and making a good shot. And yeah, we'll follow the guys now. They're about to load him up. And yeah, we'll relocate him to another area where he can go and be happy with the girls.
Gave us a great broadside shot. It's been wonderful. Great.
No problem. Yeah, let's get him up and get him out of here.
A discussion of the dangerous game of Africa would certainly not be complete without inclusion of the hippopotamus. It's an animal that traditionally has accounted for more human deaths than any other animal on the face of the continent. However, that really is traditionally, and granted, that's people protecting their crops, it's people boating the many rivers and lakes of Africa, so they're coming into close contact with the hippo. And don't forget, in the old days, a lot of people used to hunt hippo for meat with a harpoon and a dugout canoe, and man, you get into a part of hippo with a harpoon and a dugout canoe, someone's gonna die. You know, hippo traditionally is not really considered a classic hunt. However, really in many areas of Africa today, hippo really is a classic hunt. It's got a great trophy and it's animal certainly worthy of some discussion. You know, a big bull hippo can grow over 13 feet long and weigh in excess of 3 tons, and that's a giant animal, particularly given his grumpy nature and his very territorial habits. He's an animal that if you encounter him and get in between him and the water, you're certainly going to have an animal that can be classified as being very dangerous. There's several ways to hunt hippo, but most hippo are taken in Africa in large waterways such as the Zambezi River or large bodies of water where it takes a lot of close observation to select out the bull that one's going to take, and then it's really a matter of good riflemanship. You've got a small orange-shaped target. It's about the size of an orange. It's got some great indicators that indicate on the hippo where that target is, and so it really is a matter of getting in very quietly, very carefully, bearing in mind that the hippo have got great senses. They've got a great sense of smell, they've got excellent hearing and great eyesight, so getting close and getting into a place where you can comfortably take that shot is never really that easy. Take it. I'll take him. On occasion, hippo can be tracked on land, or they can be hunted just walking and stalking in between pools in the deep forest in areas like the Selous Game Reserve, where a lot of the waterways really diminish to the point that they can't sustain the hippo population. The hippo will spend a large proportion of the day actually resting up in the shade as opposed to resting in the water, which is normal for places where there's a large body of water. Hippo are territorial beasts, which means that, you know, during the day they'll very often come back to the same area to rest in the shade or the same area to be in the water, and then during the nighttime they're nocturnal feeders. They'll go out and they'll spread out through the bush. What is the trophy on a hippo? The trophy are the 12 tusks, and particularly the 4 big fighting tusks, the 2 big curved ones on the side and the 2 straight ones in the middle. You know, a large hippo will have substantial ivory in his mouth, and that makes a great trophy, as does the leather. When tanned, can be turned into all kinds of leather products that always have a great bit of history behind them and a great representation of your hippo hunting memory. Join me as we explore the vast expanse of the Zambezi River, the Selous Game Reserve, and let's watch some real-time hippo hunting. The Zambezi River, just on its own, conjures up kind of images of the old days of hunting. And, you know, that's where we're going to start on this particular section of the DVD. Hunting in Zimbabwe with Ian Gibson, who's hunted this area for many, many, many years and certainly knows exactly where all the big hippos are and certainly knows the river like the back of his hand.
We went upstream first and we traveled by vehicle to get a look at the 2 pods that are living upstream of the camp. The first pod didn't actually position itself very well. They were fairly far out in the channel and we couldn't see any bulls in that herd. So we traveled down to the second pod, which is not very far from the camp, and had a good look through there, and there was actually a nice bull out of the water, but he was a long way away, so we were trying to work out how we were going to get into a position to get this guy. Well, they kept getting our wind, and once they get your wind, they get in the water and they don't get out for quite a long period of time. So we left them and returned to camp and went downstream to have a look at some of the other ones by boat. After checking out a couple of the herd downstream, it was time to concentrate on the ones that we knew was a really good bull. So, and the easiest way to get at them was to go upstream and circle around behind the hill and then move into a position on the Zambezi to actually take a shot at him.
It's a tricky situation. Typically, the wind blows right upstream, so you've only really got one opportunity, which is to come in from the upstream side. And so that's exactly what they did. They got in from the upstream side and clambered through the thick brush and fairly steep-sided banks to get into where they thought they could get a shot from. These are hippos that have been hunted before. They know what's going on. They're very, very wary, and it's very important that the wind stays perfect, that you're absolutely quiet, and that you get into a position without breaking the skyline.
Well, after getting in a position to see the herd out of the water, I had a fairly good look through it, and there was a bull on the left-hand side that was actually recognizably much bigger than the cows. And I got Harry into a position quickly because he was still walking around on the island.
Okay. Shoot the one on the far left.
Far left, okay.
That's the bull.
That's the bull, okay.
I think so.
All
Looks
right.
like the bull. When you're in your own town.
Okay.
Based on the distance, they decided to take a lung shot.
Hey, well done. That's
Thank you, sir.
about a 200-yard shot. You don't normally take 200-yard shots at hippo.
That's a long ways, I can tell you that.
It's not a normal thing to take a lung shot on a hippo.
Yeah.
But as I say, I know how you've been shooting on the hunt, and you're shooting really well, and it's a shot like that is just one that you can pull off.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You did well.
Yes, sir.
It's always a little bit nerve-wracking as you sit there and wait for your hippo to float. Has he gone into the deep water current and gone further than you thought he'd go? Was your shot actually perfect and it all worked perfectly? So, you know, you never really know till you get your hands on him, but when you walk up to him and it's a big bull, it's time for celebration.
This is a great trophy. We've got ourselves a very nice hippo bull here. As you can see, those got a bunch of formidable teeth on them. You end up on the wrong side of those and you're going to be in trouble.
Thank you, sir.
Again, well done.
The second hunt on this section is going to take us with Stephen and Philip Binden right deep into the Selous Game Reserve in Tanzania. At this time of the year, what ends up happening is a lot of the little water courses and things like that have dried up, so the hippo are concentrated into big groups in the river, making all of the bulls come into one spot, and really it was a legitimate goal to try and get 2 bulls out of the same group.
We're in the central Selous here. I'm with Dean Kendall, who's one of the local Tanzanian PHs here. Dean and I have been working together actually for about 15 years, and it's just a great pleasure to be in the bush with someone who's got great local knowledge, and it's always a treat for 2 PHs to work together, so we're looking forward to hunting a hippo together here, and it should be a great hunt.
Having selected a great herd from the top of the hill, we decided that we were going to get down as close as we could and sneak through the riverine forest. And even that can be pretty exciting, because often there's hippos lying in the shade there and that you haven't seen until you're almost on top of them. Well, we got right in on the group. The group must have been 60 or 70 strong, and you know, then it becomes a numbers game. Man, you know that there's several big bulls in the group, and it's just a matter of trying to select a bull that's big, but B, a bull that's going to present a decent shot, that you're not going to get a pass through into another cow or something like that, but also that's going to be in an area where we're going to be able to recover them without